You ever have that weird moment where you're staring at your bank account and thinking, okay, so this is kind of depressing. Like you worked hard, you showed up to your job, you sacrificed time and sleep and weekends and sanity, and what do you have to show for it? A number on a screen that somehow doesn't feel like enough, no matter what it is. Maybe you've got $500 saved. Maybe you've got $1,000 sitting there. Maybe it's literally $47.19, and you're hoping nothing unexpected happens because you don't have the emotional capacity for another financial surprise right now. And you're listening to everyone online talk about investing and building wealth and financial freedom and passive income and compound interest like it's this magical superpower that everyone apparently has. Except you. And there's this annoying voice in your head that goes, cool. That's great for people who already have money. But what about the rest of us? What about the people starting small? What about the people just trying to get off the ground? That's kind of where this conversation starts. Because honestly, I've spent a ridiculous amount of time thinking about money. Probably more than any normal person should. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why some people slowly, quietly build wealth while other people stay trapped in this endless loop of earning and spending and stressing and promising themselves they'll figure it out next year. I think about how psychology and habits and tiny decisions shape our entire financial lives without us even realizing it. And here's the thing that's kind of wild. Turning $1,000 into $100,000 sounds like one of those clickbait financial fantasies. Like some guru is going to come in and tell you there's a secret trick, or a magical stock, or some hack billionaires don't want you to know. But the truth is way less flashy and way more powerful. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's not being born into money. It's a combination of simple math, patience, systems, mindset, and honestly, just doing the boring stuff consistently for a long enough period of time. What if the real difference between people who become wealthy and people who don't isn't intelligence, but patience? What if the real skill isn't picking the perfect investment, but sticking with a good one long enough for it to do its job? And what if that $1,000 you have, or wish you had, isn't just small money, but the beginning of something that could actually change your life if you treated it differently? That's what we're going to talk about today. Not hype, not fantasy, just a real conversation about how ordinary people can build extraordinary wealth over time, starting smaller than you think. Here's the weird truth almost nobody tells you. The first $1,000 you save or invest isn't really about the dollar amount. It's about who you become when you do it. It sounds philosophical, maybe a little dramatic, but stick with me. Most people never truly save money consistently. They move money around. They temporarily have money. They plan to save. They intend to save. But life interrupts. Emotions interrupt. Impulses interrupt. And savings disappears. So when someone finally gets $1,000 saved and keeps it saved, something shifts psychologically. It's like your brain goes, wait, I can actually do this. That's identity. Think of it like going to the gym. The hardest part isn't getting fit. The hardest part is becoming the kind of person who goes to the gym consistently. Once that identity locks in, everything else becomes easier. Here's a simple example. I remember talking to a guy who said the first time he saved $1,000, it felt like climbing a mountain barefoot. He was constantly tempted to spend it. Emergencies kept trying to steal it. Life kept happening. But when he protected it, when he refused to let that balance drop back to zero, that's when he stopped seeing himself as bad with money. And once you shift your identity from I can't save to I am a person who saves and invests, everything changes. Your habits change. Your discipline changes. Your opportunities change because you're prepared for them instead of reacting to them. So if you're at $0, or if you've tried saving and failed, the first win is simply this. Become the kind of person who keeps money. Little takeaway: automate something. even if it's $25 a week, even if it feels tiny and pointless, because it's not about the amount. It's about proving to yourself that you can build instead of just survive. All right, let's talk about compound interest, and I promise this won't turn into a boring math lecture, because compound interest is basically the financial version of watching a snowball roll down a hill and slowly turn into an avalanche. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Compound interest is money, earning more money, which then also earns money forever. Most people underestimate it because the beginning is pain, painfully slow. You invest $1,000. Maybe you add a little over time. It grows a tiny bit. It doesn't feel exciting. It's like planting a seed and checking the dirt every 12 seconds asking, "Are we rich yet?" But here's where it gets crazy. Over long periods of time, 10, 20, 30 years, the growth curve stops being a straight line and suddenly turns into a curve that shoots upward like a roller coaster climbing into the sky. That's why wealthy people worship time more than they worship money. Time multiplies dollars in a way effort alone never can. Let's imagine something simple. If you took $1,000 and invested it, and then you kept adding $200 a month, and you earned an average of 8% a year, which is historically pretty reasonable in the stock market, you wouldn't just have a slightly bigger savings account someday. Over a few decades, that turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And somewhere in the middle of that timeline comes the $100,000 mark. Not because you're rich, not because you had the perfect timing, but because you stayed in the game long enough for compounding to finally wake up and start doing the heavy lifting. Why does this matter to you? Because most people quit during the boring part. They quit during the slow years. They quit when progress feels invisible. And they never experience the part where momentum kicks in. The actionable takeaway? Stop focusing on getting rich fast. Start focusing on not quitting. If you stay in the game, time eventually becomes your financial partner instead of your enemy. Let's talk about something uncomfortable for a second. Because the truth is, most people aren't broke because life is impossible. Most people are broke because lifestyle creep eats every dollar before it has the chance to grow. You get a raise? Suddenly rent goes up. Eating out increases. You deserve nicer things. Your spending magically rises to match your income. It happens quietly. It feels normal. And before you know it, you're making more money than ever, with nothing to show for it. I'm not judging. I've done it too. There's this weird emotional reward system where spending money feels like progress when it's actually the opposite. To turn $1,000 into $100,000, the system is simple. Money comes in. Some of it gets saved. Some of it gets invested. You live on the rest. Repeat. Forever. Not exciting, not flashy, but powerful. A good way to look at it is like a financial ecosystem. Every dollar should have a job. Emergency fund dollars protect you. Investment dollars grow for your future. Spending dollars help you live a life you enjoy. The problem comes when spending dollars steal from investment dollars. So here's a really practical move. Every time your income goes up, don't let lifestyle take all of it. Let investing take a chunk first. That's how people who don't look rich eventually become the people everyone thinks got lucky. Money isn't just math. If it were, calculators would be billionaires. Money is emotional. It's childhood experiences. It's fear.